I, a conservative, am going to have to debunk Candace Owen's lies. The USS Liberty, an American ship sunken by Israeli forces. Candace Owens claims that Israel savagely attacked the Liberty in order to blame it on Arabs and demonize them on the global scale. So let's talk about what actually happened. The USS Liberty was a spy ship, sent to gather intelligence off the coast of the Sinai Peninsula. After those orders were given, the Six-Day War broke out between Israel and several other Arab nations, including Egypt, on June 5, 1967. Much of the fighting happened in Sinai. When the war broke out, 5 separate messages from Washington were sent to the Liberty, telling it to approach no closer than 100 nautical miles from the war zone. The messages were either rerouted or dropped. It doesn't matter. The Liberty never received them, according to the Navy's official history website. On June 6th, the U.S. ambassador to the UN made public assurances to Israel that there were no U.S. ships or aircraft operating within 100 miles of the combat zone. When the Liberty arrived, it was between 13 and 17 nautical miles off the northern coast of the Sinai Peninsula on June 7th. The Israeli military, feeling confident in the assurances made to them by the U.S. that there were no U.S. vessels in the area, encountered the Liberty on June 8th. Believing the ship was an Egyptian warship, the Israelis attacked it. Shortly after firing on the vessel, an Israeli air controller became concerned that they might have hit an American ship. That fear was soon replaced with the fear that it may have been a Soviet ship. Panic set in within the Israeli chain of command. After the ship had been engaged, Israeli torpedo motorboats flashed AA with handheld lamps. This was the international signal for identify yourself. Reports indicate the Liberty responded by flashing AA back, which had been previously seen from Egyptian destroyers. As they approached, the Liberty opened fire under the orders of the ship's commanding officer. He immediately changed that order when he saw an Israeli flag on one of the motorboats. But the Liberty at this point had poor communication and rounds were fired by both sides. 25 people were killed, and once the ship was positively identified as Americans, Israeli forces tried to help rescue the crew but were denied due to the sensitive nature of the spy ship. Israel publicly apologized for the tragedy and paid millions of dollars in restitution to the victims and the victims' families. Now, 57 years later, the U.S. Navy formally takes a large portion of the responsibility for the tragedy. But because the Liberty was a spy ship and held classified materials, the Department of Defense made a press release in 1967 containing intentionally false information which placed blame on Israel. This led to conspiratorial speculations of a cover-up. There was no attempt by Israel to claim that they were not the ones who attacked the Liberty, and the U.S. Navy has since cleared all of this up. But that doesn't stop anti-Semites from using it as ammunition against Israel. Follow me here for more.